The following is a production of Dirty Mo Media.
Hey guys, welcome to Action's Detrimental, the tricky edition.
Oh, it's tricky.
How do you feel right now, Jared?
Based on my new T-shirt.
All right, those who can't see, Jared has taken a Denny Hamlin 50-win T-shirt and he's cut it in half, literally right down the middle, and he's got a Kyle Larson shirt on the other half. They're like sewn together.
Yeah, it's a half and half T-shirt. I'm showing my.
Are you prepared to be Kyle Larson's defender?
I mean, to an extent.
Okay.
I'm gonna play devil's advocate.
That's absolutely.
Jared, do you feel like this is like mom and dad fighting for you, like in front of you?
No.
Can I be dad, please?
I don't get into the on-track stuff, but it is a little awkward. I told your mom in the bus on that second to last restart when you were on the bottom, I was like, I wish someone else was up top because I feel like Denny might come out at turn one here and run Kyle a little high, sort of like he did to Ross. And she's like, no, he won't do that. I was like, if he gets the chance to pass him, I think that might be what happens. Really? And it didn't happen on that second to last restart, but
Nostradamus.
It did, yeah.
Wow. No, yeah, it didn't happen on that one for sure. The 48 was not pushing. I think they probably have conversations in the team about don't push someone past a teammate, especially for a win, which the NBC actually played our audio, and I was saying the same thing to Chris, saying, you know, if the 19 just wouldn't push the 5 on this restart, we got a good chance to win. We could win this. We're probably going to win this. But he did, and then on the next restart, I pushed the 5 past the 19. I was like, well, if we would work something out earlier, then we would add this problem. But, yeah, it's so hard. I was talking on the radio, actually, when we were stuck behind Kyle, that under the green flag, I was like, we could draft past him. Like, as long as I know he's not going to try to pass me, like, I'll slow down on corner exit. We can link up down the straightaway and get a huge draft and see if we can't get around him. But it's just so hard in those moments to play all that out and make it work right. But yeah, we were both faster at the moment, and I did the same thing he did. Is that I realized pretty quickly that, okay, I'm not going to pass him because he's aero blocking. He'd go up high and then he'd pull it down low. This pretty standard mile and a half aero blocking. Man, I'm like, we're not going to get around realistically unless he hits traffic or there's a late race restart. That's the only way. And so I backed off, and then I backed Truex off with me to just like chill out and make another run maybe later in the race. But we were killing our front tires so bad that we just chilled, and restart happened and all hell broke loose. So you wanna just get right to it?
Yeah,
Mr.
Let's dive right
Allen?
into what the people want to hear.
Okay, perfect. Well, as we talked about the first restart there, I was on the inside. I really didn't love that position. I thought that maybe double stack on the outside was probably the best idea, but it's so hard. You can't give up the front row, which we didn't. It's been a while since someone's given up the front row to, because you just never know which push could be the one that gets you by. And so I didn't really have a good restart there, and I got passed by a couple cars. And, I got passed by a couple cars, and then I'm restarting third, I believe, because I got back around the 48. Yeah, I got back around the 48, so I was third, so I was the third guy to choose. And I'm like, well, I'm definitely choosing the outside here. This is where I was going to start when I was second. And so I got a really, really good push from the 4, and it looked like the inside line did not get going because the 47 was way off of the 5 on the restart. I thought they would actually, the 47 was off the 5, who, if you don't, it takes people 3 or 4 cars in line to really get a line going down the front straightaway. So I went into turn 1, and I the key moment for me was getting clear of the 19 right before we get into turn 1. So I shot low, and next thing you know, I go in there, and I feel like I go in there pretty deep, and the 5 sails off in there, and he just goes straight. And I'm like, oh, like in that moment, I'm like, oh, I got a shot. And I think I'm going to clear him at that point. So it's really, really tough because this happens in a matter of a half a second or 1 second, right? It's super quick. So I see him going up the racetrack and lose all of his momentum. I just gas it. And I just am like, I'm going to clear him right here. We're not going to run side by side. At that moment, he says, he's still there, still there. And again, this is so bang, bang. It's really, really quick happening. I see where I'm at on the racetrack. I'm in the middle, and I'm like, well, I'm actually towards straddling the low line and the middle line. So I gas up, and I get to the middle lane as quick as I possibly can, thinking I'm going to clear him. And once I realize I'm not going to clear him, I'm like, So I start lifting, and when that happens, I'm coming up. He's holding his line, and I still contest we did not touch. I know it looks like it, but there's not a ding on the car, not a scratch on the car, nowhere on the right side. So from where I was sitting on the left, I mean, I could not. If it was contact, I certainly didn't feel it. It was so small that I certainly didn't feel it in the car. I saw the flaps go up, which happens whenever you get some low pressure, I guess it's high pressure underneath the hood, which happens when you do get close to each other. But so I throttle up there, but I got to make sure that I still leave the guy some room to race. He definitely had room up on the high side, but when we get that close to each other, it causes both cars to go extremely tight, which is why we're both lifting, which is why we both lost momentum. But it just caused his car to go way tight when we got right next to each other. I was tight, he was tight. We were both lifting, and there, he got into the outside wall. We still came off the corner side by side, and then the race was really kind of decided at that point by what happened behind us, because there was the 19 and the 4 both were coming with a huge run, and I immediately go down to the bottom of the racetrack, all the way to where I didn't want to go down where the cars, there's like a jump down where the drains are. So I kind of used that as my white line where I knew no one was going to go further left than that. And so it kind of left the 4 and the 19 no choice really but to follow me down there, because Larson kind of had the high line covered at the moment. So, we still came off side by side, which shouldn't be lost in all this. But yeah, it was the push down the back straightaway that I got that cleared me ultimately. But yeah, listen, I wouldn't, let me think how to word this. I didn't love it because it's Kyle Larson. He's a good friend of mine, but also I wouldn't change anything. I really wouldn't, because I think about the opportunity for me to get 50 for 600 for Toyota, break the record at the track. There's just a lot of factors that goes into it. And you guys mentioned, you and Travis, that a few weeks ago, you're like, what'd I say?
Last week.
It was last week?
Yeah, last Monday.
What'd I say,
Monday.
Travis?
You were just talking about how you really wanted 50, and you're like, maybe I just have to start driving more aggressive.
Yeah, yeah, I'm just gonna drive aggressive.
And then you ended it with, just ask Kyle Larson.
No, I didn't.
Yes, you did.
Wow. Irony. Yeah, I mean, I think that I try. It's very, very hard, guys, when it's 1 second. You have 1 second, half a second to 1 second to make decisions on what you're going to do. But ultimately, I wanted to be aggressive. And so the aggressive part was, I'm throttling up right here and I'm going to clear myself right away. When he didn't get as bad of when he didn't bobble as much as I thought, because listen, I can't see him out on the right side. When he shoots up in the middle of the racetrack, for whatever reason, either drove in too deep or didn't get his right side tires clean, I'm thinking, well, he is going to be really slow here, and I'm going to clear him. I got to get to the top. I don't want to get freight train, and this is the race for the win. When the spotter says you're not clear, he's out there. It's my job at that point to leave him a racing lane, which I thought I did.
So are you aware of his trajectory in the corner with the line?
No, I can't see it. Again, I can't see that. So what you see on TV is it looks simple because it's a bird's eye view, or it's the camera angle is this, that, and the other. But in the car, realize we don't see anything. So all I see is the line that I'm on, especially since he's behind me at the moment. So, his nose is not equal, not beside, I think he's up to my door or so at that time. I don't see him. I don't feel him, nothing. So all I see is the line that I'm racing in. Well, so I'm in the middle here, and I'm starting to drift up, and I'm like, it's okay. He's still got a lane over there, but the closer we get, the more the aero just takes off of the race car, and it makes you go dead right, as we've seen, right? We've seen it with Kyle Larson and Bubba Wallace, same scenario. Me and Chase Elliott. It's happened. Ross and Noah. That's what caused that fist fight. It's just a weird aero spot with these race cars that people think that like we made contact and it knocked him into the wall. That is not the case. It's not the case at all. I understand that that's probably the narrative that wants to be had, but it's not a true one.
I'm curious, when Kyle's driving in the corners, like, can you put yourself in his shoes on the outside? If you see that you're, heading for the wall, like what could he have done differently in your eyes? Like, I'm watching the replay is when you guys get close, can he not just turn left more and run you down the track?
He can't, because again, I put him in an aero spot where he can't turn his car. So you really have to make a decision at the point. Go ahead and lift, and we're probably still going to be side by side because I'm getting tight as well. He sees I'm starting to come up, but it's hard to explain because you've never driven a car. It's like, I can't tell you. I don't know what the numbers are of the amount of downforce that you lose in that particular aero situation, but it is huge. I mean, you lose complete control of your car, which is why you see all the outside cars going dead straight when these situations happen.
Was the way you passed him, was that your plan initially on the restart?
No.
Like, what was your when they throw the green flag in your mind? How are you going to get around the leader?
I'm not. Honestly, I didn't think we had a shot other than if he missed the corner. It's the only way. And at that track, we saw throughout the day.
But are you doing anything?
There was no clean pass to be had. Someone was going to have to give way. So if someone wants to fight their position at Pocono, let's throw out any factors coming from behind, draft and stuff like that. The outside person or whoever's in control you can make it probably impossible to pass unless you're willing to just say, like, this guy's faster, got to let him go, or you use someone up. That's just, these next gen cars are so draggy that when you get side by side, the outside guy can just hold you, and you're not going anywhere. So I don't know that there was really I'm just going to go down there, turn left, and clear him and pass him and race him down the back straightaway. Like, it wasn't going to happen. I needed him to miss a corner for me to have a shot.
I'm asking because, as you said, you have a lot of factors in play here. 7, the record at Pocono, your 50th win, 600 for Toyota, restarting second or on the second row. Surely in your mind, you're thinking, well, what is my only chance to get around these guys?
My only chance was to get to second place and then hope he missed a corner, which Kyle's probably not going to miss a corner very often. The only chance is in turn 1. After that, his tires are good. Even if he overshoots it, like, if he's clear, there is no race to be had. There just isn't. It's just too impossible to pass.
Do you think with fans and the crowd watching this replay that you lose a little bit the benefit of the doubt because of how you raced Ross last year in the same situation?
I don't know about that for sure. While it might look similar, I had left Ross no choice in that situation. I mean, we didn't make contact either, but yeah, I was up the racetrack quite a bit more with Ross. I definitely had the intent, as you could see through where I entered the corner, to be much lower. But no, it definitely wasn't. I mean, your question is, do you lose benefit of the doubt because it was the same? Yeah, yes and no. The outcome was not the same. Again, we have to figure out what's acceptable. We're racing for a win, a significant win. All these wins in the regular season matter for playoff points and whatnot. So maybe, probably lose benefit of the doubt if I had to guess, but I don't know that I really had any benefit of the doubt to begin with. I don't know really that I've ever been looked at subjectively for whatever I mean, Jared, if you're worried about boos, I got booed after I got wrecked at Martinsville. I got wrecked. So there's not subjectivity there. It's not the fans are right because they're booing. Like, no, they have a different lens because they're fans. And if they're fans of someone or not fans of me, like, you're going to have a reaction. Fans are loyal, and NASCAR fans are more loyal than any. So I just take it with a grain of salt. Like, the intros, I mean, I get booed the most by far in intros, and before the race I hadn't done anything. So what's everyone so upset about? So I don't think it was funny at the end of the race. I guess Jeff Burton was insinuating that the crowd was booing because they threw that caution, and Dale Jr.
Your boss said no.
Clarified real quickly. Jeff, I don't think that's what they're doing. I think they're booing for another reason. So,
but not necessarily related to the boost, because Kyle Petty said after the race.
Who gives a what Kyle Petty says?
Can I finish my question?
Okay, go ahead.
And then you can say that. For the fans just watching, trying to understand the moment and how it happened, right? They see what happened last year with Ross, which is very evident, right? And
I got him back.
Yeah,
because
exactly.
Because I'd been wrecked multiple times. I've been on the end way more than I've been on the giving end, and that's just a statistical fact.
Correct.
Of most incidences, yeah.
But the outcome from last year and this year is kind of similar. So
I agree with that. I definitely can see that for sure. But I can tell you there was no intent. The intent was not the same. I went into the corner thinking, holy shit, this is my opportunity. And I've got a split second to hit the gas and clear him. That's what I'm thinking at the time. And when I realize I can't clear him, I'd realize I need to leave a lane. I don't know how close he is to the right side of the car. I can't see him. So I don't know how tight he's about to get. All I know is that I'm going to go up here and I'm going to run wide, and hopefully we end up side by side off this corner. It didn't work out that way, but all factors, it's hard to put all the factors into play of why you make the decisions you make in a split second moment. I mean, I didn't go in there and clean them out. Like, who did Ty Gibbs clean out at Brandon Jones at Martinsville? Like that, it's just different. Like, I will contest, and we will show shots of the right side of my race car with not a nick, not a scratch, not a dent, nothing. So if we touched, I mean, usually you put a hand on it, it's going to leave a mark. It's just, I don't know. I mean, what do you guys want me to do? I mean, should I leave them more than a lane? Tell me what I should do.
It's hard.
I mean, I'm just asking because at Darlington, Kyle Larson didn't deem it was okay. He didn't leave Chastain a lane on the outside, which is what caused the Chastain to then run in the corner and clean him out, because he was like, well, I got cleared out here. Larson used up Chase Elliott at Watkins Glen. That's his teammate. Same thing, ran him up high. So I don't know what, are we being subjective? Like, I really need a poll. Like, are you mad about what I did or just me? Like, I don't, because what's acceptable, right? And I get it. Like, it's a very, very fine line for sure, because I ran up the racetrack and didn't leave him a lot of options. And especially in that scenario, right? He's thinking, at all costs, I've got to stay on the outside of him. And so I need to stay in the gas to make sure I stay on the outside of him. But unfortunately, with these race cars, in that aero position, you're going to lose the complete grip of your car. And it's going to go dead right, which we've seen with everyone.
It makes me think back to the Cook 600 you won when you were racing Kyle Busch.
Mm-hmm.
The situation was similar, right? You had said, I'm going in here, I'm not letting off. And
okay, very similar. I didn't even think about that. So same scenario, right? And I said after the Coke 600 in 2022, I says, if there was contact, that was going to be the result. Like, I just, at that point, we're racing for the win. I think that I've been very naive at times, thinking that, well, this is just old school racing. You got to be a purist, and you can't, you gotta. The art of passing is no longer an art. People just clean each other out. I just don't put this in that category whatsoever. I used aero to my advantage, the same way that Kyle Larson uses aero to stay in front of me to his advantage when he's leading. So when is it okay for this person to use aero to his advantage, but not the other car? Like, it's just, I don't know. Again, am I warm and fuzzy and saying, you, this is, I went out and took that? No, but, I earned a lot of them the very, very hard way. And that was a hard way as well. Restarting fourth in that final restart, or that second to last restart. But again, I put all the factors into play, and I believe with the roles reversed, the outcome is the exact same. I understand that I won't get the benefit of the doubt. I understand that, it looks similar to last year. The result was not the same as last year. But it was certainly not the intent. The intent was to go in there, and when he bobbled and shot up the racetrack, I got to go right. I have to clear right now. It's the only shot. Because if we come off, side by side off turn 2, that once I conceded that I was not going to get clear, that we were going to have to race down the backstretch, it was over. He was going to pinch me off in turn 2. And again, the only way a pass was going to be made for the lead, someone was going to get used up or someone made a mistake. That's the only chance that a pass happens for the lead.
So just the aerodynamics of this car lead to those situations.
It does, which is why we put each other in these situations all the time. We do. It's very, very common. You can run right up to if you're the inside car, you can run up to someone's door on the outside, and it also makes their car push really bad, and that makes them have to lift on exit. So if you think that they're going to get clear of you, just run up to their the left side of their door. It causes a huge tight moment, makes them lift, and then bam, you get to stay side by side.
Well, I tell you what, I'm not opposed to the boos, because a lot of boos lead to engagement, and that Instagram post has like 1,500 comments, which
1,500 comments?
Yeah.
What? Give me a number of positive to negative ratio, just off the top of your head.
Probably 60-40 negative.
Oh, I thought it would be. No, it's way more negative than that.
All right, I'm gonna take a sample of about 15 comments. Right, whatever shows up here.
Whatever shows up, you're gonna read.
Yep.
Now, just
I'm gonna
keep in mind that
I'm gonna scroll a little bit so
whatever
they're
gets the
random.
most likes is
I know.
populated at the top.
Well, I'm gonna
so it's probably going to be the you, Denny Hamlin.
I'm going to scroll a little
You're
bit.
a dirty veteran.
All right, here we
Kyle
go.
would never do that to you.
I scrolled a little bit to get to the middle. Hack, practice what you preach, you little a bunch of trash can emojis, a bunch of clapping emojis. Absolute legend, not even close to over. Still a lot to accomplish, my man. Here's one in Spanish. This is saying more or less you in Spanish. I'd like to see him try to take this one away. Congrats, legend. Denny Hamlin, you're the best, and so is your mom. So shout out to Mary Lou. And congratulations. Hell yeah, DH.
Okay.
A couple goat emojis.
All right, go back to the top again. Read that top one.
Hey Hamlin, I like your championships. Oh, here's
Oh,
one.
no.
Hey, that this is the picture of you doing 50 with the
Yeah.
Pocono trophy. Here's one that says, "How many championships do you have?" Oh yeah, look at your left hand.
That's awesome. All right. No, back to the one about hack, practice what you preach, all this stuff.
Yeah.
Right. Can we address this really quickly? What am I preaching? I'm confused about what am I preaching? Again, if you switch the roles, there's no question that I get used up. I mean, that's what happens. Again, I use previous instances to say, well, what would this person do to me, right? And I understand Kyle's comments afterwards saying, well, he did that to Ross, which Ross deserved, but I haven't done anything to him for him to race me that way. I agree with that. I mean, it's not completely true that we haven't had any situations where, I feel like he's used me up in a few instances, and I reached out to him to talk about those instances in the past. But I would say for the generally speaking, he's been very fair to me. I wouldn't say. I mean, we documented during the Preece incident at the dirt track. Like I love Kyle, but he's not afraid to put you to a decision when he comes and slides you. Okay, and another instance, he slid up, slide job, and knocked Kyle Busch into the wall. Like I feel as though roles reverse, I get the same treatment. And so because I'm unpopular, should I not make that move? Should I not make the same move that would be done to me? I guess I don't know. It's a hard decision to make, and it's really hard to make when it's a split second and you see an opportunity to win a significant race. And I made a choice that the best word for it is I don't love it, but I wouldn't change it.
I mean, that's what you said about Kansas too. It's the same. You don't love the outcome.
I think this is the first time that me and Kyle kind of have a difference of opinion on the ending. Kansas, we had the same opinion. Mine was like, well, we were just racing there and we made slight contact,
right,
racing for the lead, and that was it. And Kyle said the same thing. He's like, yeah, I mean, I was loose. I bounced off the wall. He was right there. He was trying to side draft. That's racing. We had the same opinion from Kansas, which is why neither one of us, well, certainly he was very fair in his statements after the race. I do think he's warranted to be upset. I'll certainly concede that roles reversed. I'm like, really, dude? But I'll know in the back of my mind, though, that this is fucking new NASCAR. This is the world we live in, that the best car just ain't going to go past the leader anymore. You have to put someone to a compromising position to pass them. And especially with 3 laps to go, they ain't letting you by. So it's just different now. And certainly you could make an argument for the 5 team, said, well, hey, we earned our spot in front of you. We played our strategy. We ran lap time. We earned that spot in front of you. You shouldn't be able to just go take it. I think if I ran into the square in the back of them and spun around in turn 1, that's taking it. That's just not giving you an opportunity whatsoever to race, and that's dumping somebody, which is completely unacceptable. Racing for the lead, I don't know. I just I get it. It's certainly a fine line. If Kyle thinks that he owes me one, I don't hold that against him whatsoever. I'm of the same opinion he is, of like, I can separate our friendship off the racetrack to what we are competitors on the racetrack. And I mean, it's interesting because I said, man, I race my friends harder. I do. And hopefully the fans would want that. Like, do the fans want, oh, these guys are buddies, they're not going to race each other hard for the win? Well, that's not good for your entertainment. Like, you want us to be able to put that aside for a moment and then be competitors. Like a football game, they want to, knock the shit out of each other, and they get out, they come at middle field, and then they're like dabbing at each other. Like, that's just, they can separate competition from friendship. And he said, hey, I think Jeff Gluck said, Larson said, well, he would golf with him Wednesday if he asked. I'd the same way. Now, I'd probably have some explaining to do, but I still would, you can't let your friendship trickle into competition, because you're just not doing your team justice. I mean, every team works so hard. I get it. My team I'm very, very close with. I've been with them for a long time. My relationship with Chris and those, my engineers, I've had them a very long time. Man, if I just go through turns 1 and 2 and I lift and I'm conceding that, all right, well, we're just going to run side by side here. I'm not winning. That's a fact. And it's hard for me to say to them, I gave 100% when I know that there was another move to be had. There was I could be more aggressive here. You heard it in Chris, this right before that restart, right? And he's saying 7,
he's fiery.
50, 600. Find a way. And so that he says that entering turn 3 as we're about to restart. So, I mean, he got my blood going. And when I saw the 5 cars shoot up the racetrack in turn 1 and 2, I'm like, I got it. I'm taking it right now. And, we got close. So, listen, I do hate it for Kyle and his team. Certainly they were deserving of getting a better finish. I'm not sure why they fell at the end. I don't know, because it looked like the speed of his car was fine through turns 2. And again, he didn't have a great car. I mean, he was running pretty good lap times when he was out front, but I certainly thought we were faster. The 19 was certainly faster. But I didn't know if he just, once he got in traffic, he had 2 tires. He was then going up against 4 tire cars. Did he drop that reason, or did he have damage? Not sure.
He was also in the inside lane, which was dropping. So, like, everybody on the outside was passing, plus the 2 and the 4 tires, I think. Like, because everybody on the inside lane would, like, some drop out and try to go lower. And so it just disintegrated every restart.
Yeah.
He mentioned his car was destroyed in his interview.
Okay.
For what it's worth.
Yeah, it might have been, for sure. That's for sure. Now, was it destroyed from the wall when he ran over the left side under caution? I'm not sure, because both were pretty significant hits. So it was, I thought he would come up and like rev his engine or something, but I didn't think he would like just flatten the left side of the cars. But I don't know. I understand his frustration. I get it. I would have the same reaction. We're both competitors. We both want it bad. I don't know. I see the way like Harvick's driving this year, and like I haven't got there yet. I'm not nearly there, where you can tell like he's just done letting people go. He's not afraid to just kind of wash up and put you in a decision where you got to lift. Like his give a shit is definitely meter is pegged on low with everyone. But Kyle's going to win. He's going to be in this sport a long time. The next, I don't know how old is he? How old is Kyle?
I think he turns 30 this week.
Yeah, listen, as a fan of his,
Or
you
31,
should know this.
31.
Okay.
31.
So
last year
he's
was a big present. This year's 31.
okay. So yeah, he's got another 13, 14 years of his career. I've certainly got less than that. It's just, man, you got from my perspective, you know, it's every opportunity I don't take to try to win is one less win column, one less tick in the win column, right? It's just, it's very tough when you see the light at the end of the tunnel. I don't know when that is, by the way. I'm not suggesting that I'll be done at the end of this year or the following. Joe says I'm not leaving for another 10. I don't know about that, but yeah, it's like I said, I wanted 50 really bad. And what did I say, Travis?
Just ask Kyle Larson.
That's not. I said I got to start being more aggressive.
More aggressive, yeah.
More aggressive.
If people just listened to the podcast, they would have seen this coming. Also, shout out to Kyle Larson. Thank you. Gave an Actions Detrimental drop during his interview.
Yep. I think what you should do, by the way, is say, all right, here's the take, and then just say, you know, like, just bleep it out. No sounds to make the people listen to the whole pod instead of watching the highlights. Because a lot of people watch the highlights. They don't, and they comment on the highlights, and you're like, wait a minute, you don't understand what we're talking about. The clickbait stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like Chase, let's hold hands. Well, perhaps
I still want to hold hands with them.
they do not want to hold hands with you.
No, they don't.
Perhaps I gave you an idea on how to address this elephant in the room because, yes, Kyle's birthday is this coming weekend. Or next Monday. So you got a couple of days to prepare for this.
You know what would be a good birthday present? Running second to me at Richmond.
That would be good. That'd be I would enjoy that. That'd be a great social post. That'd be
great for you.
It would be.
You had
amazing.
I ruined your perfect scenario, didn't I?
Which was what?
Denny and Kyle running 1-2, or Kyle Denny, however
cleanly, yeah. Or without any drama. I should say that. Maybe not cleanly, without any drama.
All right.
Have you spoken to Kyle since, or will you reach out to him? How does that go when something like this goes down?
Say happy birthday this week.
I don't know. I think this is probably a conversation to have in person. I think. I mean, our paths cross. We have same mutual friends. It's funny because, you know, my friend first, by the way. JP works for Kyle, and he's the Austin for Kyle, and JP's mouthing off at Austin. It's like Austin should tell him, shut the fuck up. Like, I'm not driving the car. Like they want to argue with Austin. Like, come argue with me. Like, anyway, I get it. Everyone's passionate because, you know, you live and breathe that person's life, and you travel with them. Like, I always say, you know, Austin is the, like, tried and true.
He is ride or die DHR.
Ride or die. And at times, like I say, no, Austin, I up there. Like, I'll tell him, like, no. And he'll try to defend me to me. And I'm like, no, Austin, don't, no. It's okay. I know I made a mistake there. It's okay to admit it. Well, you know, I just think it was just, you know, just a messed up scenario. So, you know, JP is that guy for Kyle. And I love JP because, you know, you love loyal people. And that's why we're all friends, is all these guys are loyal. They could separate, you know, work from play. We all have a good time. And, again, I don't, you know, condemn them for, you know, having a reaction to it. That's for sure.
Well, it's always interesting when things like this happen to see which person in the group chat is the one to break the ice and kind of bring everything back to normal again.
Yeah, because Kyle's still in our golf guys chat. He's not in the golf guys, and there's no story to be had there. He moved away. He moved to Phoenix, so he can't participate in all the events, but he's still in the chat. So you definitely, like, even after Kansas, it took a while for someone to be like, usually it lights up. If either me or Kyle or Ricky win, like, the chat lights up.
Well, that's what's funny, because after Kansas, Ricky had posted a GIF in the chat of something, and he thought it was hilarious, and no one responded. And then, like, 2 weeks later, he's like, I thought that was funny. Like, I was trying to break the ice.
You're right.
No one said anything.
Yeah. Ricky's another great one. Just total loyal guy. He's awesome. But really, it was a fantastic race at Pocono. To be honest with you, all the races were really exciting. We spent so much time on the finish. We got so much other stuff to cover here. But first, I feel like we should say shout out to all the Pocono fans. Hey, by the way, there was a picture of a lot of people giving me the finger, but there's one guy in a FedEx shirt with me. When NASCAR says congrats 50 or something, you see boo, and then you see fingers, and then there's one guy in a FedEx shirt just hallelujah. This guy is cheering. I'm like, I did it for you. That guy. That one guy right there. I will say this, though. I think I have more fans than I've ever had. I just think I had no fans before. Now, I have people.
Surely, yeah. There's this group of people that did not give a about Denny Hamlin. And now either
correct.
They really don't care.
Right. No, they don't like, or
they really like you. Like, you've taken this group of people.
I had a fan club, and that was the entire group of my fans. And there was about 30 or 40 of them.
It was small. Your mom knew everyone by name.
No question. But at the racetrack, now I see way more 11 gear than I've ever seen. For sure. Would you agree with that?
Yeah.
So
since 2019, or since I started.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So those of you that, continue to cheer when others boo, I'm doing this for you. I did this for you.
I thought you were bringing up the picture of just the Pocono crowd. The crowd from
the crowd was just amazing. It was amazing. They did a phenomenal job. I don't know what it was. I don't know whether they promoted more in the market or what they did, but camping full. I mean, that place is revived. I don't know if it's the promotion, the racing, whatever it is at Pocono, but that track is absolutely revived. The infield, slam-packed. They are spending money in the infield to make the fan experience better. Awesome job, and the stands were packed, sold out. I mean, just well done by Pocono this weekend. And
this is a track that drivers, other people in the industry would always be, we got Pocono this weekend, right? Didn't necessarily look forward to going to. Probably more so because of the amenities in the area.
Yeah, there's just not much for sure.
The racing, or at least the way the race ends, it has always been, since I can remember, exciting, especially in recent years.
Yeah. So much of it, the ticket sales and whatnot, it goes into the promotion of it, right? Is how are they promoting, and whatever they did, if it's a grassroots campaign like, Chris Farley did in Black Sheep, posting on every tree around the area, like whatever they did, do that again and help educate other tracks to do whatever they did to promote, because it was fantastic.
Yeah. I mean, one date I feel like helps too. You can put all
it does,
especially for a track like this.
That certainly is a factor.
Getting into the racing, Pocono has always been a strategy race. I'm curious.
Strategy and fuel, yep.
I'm curious what goes into a crew chief's decision on how to create that strategy before the race starts.
Well, there's a lot of factors in it. One of them is going to be how close are you to the leader, because you can't pit. You can't pit and then, before the end of the stage, if you're not within, I think the number used to be 12 seconds of the leader. with the pit stops being faster now, that number's probably.
I thought I heard him say 15 seconds
I was
yesterday.
going to say 15. Yeah. Yeah, so 15 seconds or so. So it's just you need to stay close to the lead to really give yourself tons of options for strategy. To be honest with you, I didn't quite understand our strategy for most of the race, but I just kind of trusted in they got it figured out up there. They're looking at numbers and shit I don't see. They see when other guys are pitting. A lot of what Chris will do at times will just look at, well, who are we racing? Who do we think has the same amount of speed as us? And those are the guys we got to out-strategize or figure out how to get ahead of in track position. And so traditionally when it comes down to the strategy and stuff, and especially at Pocono, I understand the assignment. That's kind of all I'll say about that, but I know what he's trying to do and what he needs me to do when I'm out there. Like I understand the assignment and I pit whenever he says pit. So this is more of a track position race than it's ever been. It's never been more difficult to pass at that racetrack. New tires, again, Truex had 4 on us. We had 2. And I think we even had older left side tires than most. And still, like, the times when I came out on 2 tires, I ran my fastest lap of the day. It's so difficult to pass. The tires don't fall off. So it's a strategy race. It really reminds me, it's as close to an F1 race as it possibly can get. Only the competition's better and closer.
Yeah, I mean, when you look at it, coming before the last 2 cautions, you had the top 3 cars were on a different strategy.
Yeah.
Like Kyle, who had spun out earlier in the race, so he's on a completely different strategy, right?
Mm-hmm.
I'm assuming. You had yourself, who was on a different strategy than Martin, who was behind you. So top 3 cars, completely different ways of running this race, but all found themselves battling for the lead.
Yeah, a lot of it is because there's a lot of ways to skin the cat to put yourself up front at the end, but you got to have, first thing you got to have is a fast car. And then, you've got to have the strategy work out. You have to have cautions not screw you. There's sometimes a caution can just completely throw your strategy upside down. So there's a lot of factors in it for sure. But, I think that many of my wins at Pocono, I wouldn't say many of them, a few of them have come because my team has just killed it on the strategy side of things. I think one of them being the race last year, which I guess didn't count. But even the year, 2019 or 20, one of those years that we won, that was a strategy call where we were racing Kyle Busch and Kevin Harvick, and we were all pretty close on speed, but we beat them with strategy. We had a better strategy call.
Yeah, and you've also had the races here where you've run out of fuel on the last lap. Where the strategy just didn't quite play out.
No doubt. I had one of the most dominating cars I thought I ever had there was probably in 2000. Gosh, it was right after 2010. I won one of those races in 2010, but the following year, I had the field by like 3/4 of a second a lap in practice, and then the car broke when I took the green flag. I think the fuel pump or something broke on it and never got a shot. But you always remember the ones you didn't win. Like, even though, this is a big one, we got 50, I'm like, I feel like I should have 40 more just because of crazy that has happened. But everyone has that story in their resume.
On our show sheet here, we have just so much drama. Suarez, Logano, and then Joey and his tow truck driver. Austin Dillon throwing his helmet. What do you want to start?
I don't know. Where do we start? I mean, the first thing when I walked in the studio,
you look like you want to laugh. So let's start with Joey and the tow truck driver.
Let's just say this. I'm not going to play the audio because, again, his sponsors might have, words to say, or his team, and it's just not a great look. So I won't play it. But there is in-car audio out there if you really, really want to investigate, that's f***ing hilarious. I mean, it's hilarious because it's not me. I understand in his moment, he's like, there's nothing wrong with my car. Just hook me to the tow truck. And he starts getting pushed and he loses his brain and starts yelling at the official to hook up the fucking tow truck. And then I guess as the officials are walking away, he's mumbling or screaming to himself about the official. And it's just, it's funny because it's not me, but I can empathize with his position because now I think he did having significant left side damage. But I looked at his car. I'm like, well, and I asked over the radio, I said, Chris, why is he not just driving? And he's like, I think he's beached. I think he has all 4 flat and he can't move. So I heard Joey talk about at the end of the race or at the end of his day, we got to come up with something different. I agree with that. I think that it's certainly, we've seen it multiple times. And really the problem is it's making the cautions so long. Like the cautions are getting super long. They felt long yesterday. And a lot of it is because, NASCAR is trying to do the teams and the drivers a favor by not just dragging your car at 80 miles an hour to the pit lane. Like that would destroy the bottom side. It's getting destroyed anyway, so you might as well try to do it as fast as you can. But they're trying not to destroy this expensive piece of carbon fiber on the bottom of the car. But I'm wondering if, like, I even said, like, should we just F1 style lift these?
Can you pick it up like that, or is it too heavy?
Well, you would need a special piece of machinery to pick up that heavy-ass car. That F1 car weighs far less than what this Cup car does. So I don't know the right strategy to do it. We've cut the rub blocks in half from what they used to be. There's actually no left rear rub block, but they get beached. And again, those rub blocks are there to protect the underside of the car because, frankly, the teams could not afford to keep buying underwings every single week. So they're there for a reason. They're not there for looks. I don't know the right answer to it, but it's like there certainly should be a better scenario than what we've got. I just don't know exactly what it is.
Should there also be like a push to talk button on the steering wheel maybe in the future? So Joey's not in this situation again?
So on the teardown, they were speculating that they think it was the camera and it picked up the audio.
Yes.
It wasn't like he didn't have like the team keyed or anything.
Yes.
Got it.
He did the right thing. He was screaming to himself. But yes, there is a tiny microphone in the which is where we heard the Preece and Corey thing.
And every car has one. Every car has an in-car camera now.
Yeah, so the mic on that picked it up. But
Got it.
Listen, it's for our listening pleasure. It's not their pleasure. They had a day. They got tore up, and obviously he was probably thinking at the time he didn't know he had left rear damage, toe link damage. That listen, if I just put 4 tires on this thing, I could go back to the pit area and still be on the lead lap or get my lap back at some point.
I'm just curious, I think for a lot of fans, no one's ever seen or heard Joey like this. And you've had your run-ins with Joey. Have you heard this side of him before?
So this is the thing, right? It finally comes through. Like, people don't understand, well, how can he be so one way on the track and different in person? And like, I don't think anyone's ever seen or heard this side of Joey. We know it's there. It's on the inside. We've seen little hints of it, but not like this for sure. But damn, you got a mic inside of a athlete's helmet when he just had something bad happen. Like, you usually don't get that kind of access in other sports.
Yeah, or you got to pay for it. This was 100% free.
Yeah. There's so many.
Austin Dillon, you got to connect with the helmet. You got to connect.
I saw some people were saying the throw was weak.
Throw was weak, but also, did you see Reddick? Like, I'm not sure if he was cleaning his tires or just swerved at the right time. He kind of dodged it. It looked like it a little bit.
So I didn't see it. Carry me through the next minute while I look at
His
this.
Then he's
problem.
gonna pull up his note here and click on a link that's gonna bring him to a Twitter video.
80's problem was, I don't know if he's not like, has he gone hunting before? He aimed for you got to aim forward. The car is moving. Like,
That's correct.
It's a moving
you know
target,
that.
80.
You got to.
No, Austin 80 knows
Oh, and
that.
he bounced it in.
Yeah, he's trying to throw a bounce pass.
I don't know how he threw. Like how he. It was
Yeah.
bad.
Listen,
The
helmet's.
helmet's kind of heavy though.
Yeah, and if you're throwing it by the. God, that's expensive.
I mean,
Pop.
You're effectively
Ain't gonna like that
taking,
helmet bill.
You're effectively taking a wad of $5,000, right, and throwing it at Tyler Reddick, essentially.
Yeah, paint scheme all included for sure. Yeah, but I mean, at the time, he's probably so hot he don't really give a shit. That's why I took my Hans off when I chucked it at Harvick at Bristol after he wrecked me there. I was like, helmet. No, let me unhook this thing real quick. And it's way easier. It's like a boomerang. You just kind of the helmet, a little heavier. Yeah, not a great throw, but it's an awkward object to try to throw. I disagree with the weak throw. I mean, he bounced it in, but it had velocity on it. So I'm gonna give him. He's got a baseball background. I think he was part of the Little League World Series at one time.
He's
Clearly didn't play shortstop. But yeah, in that wreck, I'm looking at the wreck too. I don't know. People are going to think I'm such a homer, right? I mean, because I'm sticking up for Tyler here, but it's like the 3 came down. From what I can see, unless there's an angle that's kind of messed up here. I mean, clearly Dillon was so upset that he thought he just got ran over. So
If it helps you, the broadcast defended Tyler too. You're not like
okay.
honest.
It looks weird to me. I'm like, well, wait a minute, why is he going so low? But it's really hard to say because that is the worst spot for the spotters to try to spot is into turn 1. They're guessing. Spotters are guessing. They're telling you, but they don't have any idea going into turn 1. All they see is the back of the cars, and they don't know if you're clear or not. Like if it's close, it's on you. You got to use your mirrors for sure into turn 1, which sometimes is why the restarts are so crazy like they were. Which is why you saw the Suarez Logano wreck. It happened because people were changing lanes and they didn't know that someone was there. So
Yeah.
it just that happens at that racetrack.
No, we saw that too in the Xfinity race, right? With Josh Berry coming back up the track, not knowing how close whoever was there, and they made contact. The other incident we had was Ryan Preece and Corey Lajoie, apparently.
Again, that's another one I did not see. Like all I saw from that was the. I'm sure it's going to be. I mean, there'll be video. NASCAR has all these in-car cameras, so they're going to post the dash cam from Corey probably today.
If they haven't already.
Yeah, but Preece was hot. I mean, he was hot at Lajoie, so there must have been something that he thought was egregious. Speaking of egregious, did Ty Dillon just flat out dump the 14 of Briscoe? It looked not great. But again, TV is so hard to go back and, well, hey, let's go back 2 laps and figure out where this all stemmed from. They got a lot of going on. By the way, man, I know I'm bouncing around, but NBC's production is so freaking good. Like, they even laid out the strategy on a diagram and says, all right, well, here's how the crew chiefs are playing this. So NBC does such a fabulous job of telling the stories of what's going on in the race. You can't give them enough credit for what they do and how they call races and breaking it all down for everyone. But the Preece thing, I mean, I think he's still a little miffed. It seems like ever since the Larson kind of crowded him at Bristol, and he's like, screw this, I'm going to stick up. No, maybe it started at Coda. Remember he had a post-race interview. He's just like, I'm done. Like, I'm so done with this and getting run over. And since then he got, he got the Bristol incident, then whatever happened here, and there's just been a few, and the Stewart-Haas cars have been struggling mightily, except for the 4. It's just been a tough season for him, and I think that that all plays a factor in reactions after races and when you get spun out. But we'll get a look at it later today, I'm sure, to see how egregious it was. But whatever it was, he was pissed at Lajoie. I saw Lajoie's crew members come and pull him off, which, yeah. I mean, I don't know. I guess if it's my team, they should do that. But I know that NASCAR frowns upon the team going to the car too quickly.
Well, yeah. Well, people are always saying, "Oh, NASCAR knows these things are happening. How do they have that guy there ready?" They did not know this one was going to happen.
Yeah, no,
they were not.
Oh,
prepared.
I was going to say, I thought you were going to tell me that gold shirt security man was on the scene.
No, I'm watching the video
he was
here.
Nowhere to be seen.
No, the only gold I see is Corey's helmet when he gets out of the car.
Man.
Speaking of that accident, though, Denny, what did you know of that wreck happening when you were getting ready to take the white and them waiting to throw the caution?
All they tell me is that there's a spin.
Still green.
Yeah, you must have the radio on. So, yeah. He just says, keep coming. We're staying green. And at that point, I see the flag go up in the air, and I thought it was yellow. And I was like, God damn it. And I'm like, oh, no, that's white. That's white. That's Blouse's. This is over.
I think the flagman reached for the yellow initially and then grabbed the white.
Yeah, and I see NASCAR's getting a lot of criticism for this call, but I think it's been very consistent. Now, it just depends on the race. I get it. But at the end of races, mostly it's happened on the white flag lap where they have held the caution to as late as possible until we get around there. I haven't seen them hold a caution on with 2 to go. Usually, I'm not going to say they want it, but they want more green-white checkers. They want that action. I think they had already seen enough at that point in the action category. I could be wrong. I think they were running late. The broadcast was already, when I looked at post-race, there were still laps left in the race. So I think they were running up against a TV window.
Stage 1 looked like a truck race.
You have to understand that these are factors. Okay, these are factors in it. Like it or not. I know you might not like it, but sometimes races get called based off of how are we doing on time. And that's I think this may have been a fact where we're flat out of time here, and we need to, there was no immediate danger. The 41 did not hit anything. He started to get going, which is why they held it as well. So it ain't like a guy hit the fence with 2 to go and they just didn't throw a caution. Like, I don't think they deserve, the criticism they're getting for that by any means. But they absolutely, like Jeff Burton said, they had to throw the caution once we got to almost turn 2, and he was sitting at the exit of turn 2, halfway between each wall. So they had no choice then, but certainly the crowd didn't like it. They were booing. They just did not like that call.
Yeah, they really didn't like how the race ended. They wanted to see you cross the finish line.
I know. What else you got?
I got a couple Dear Denny's for you. So
hey, I had on here, you guys put down Bowman Rex and says Denny just fucking wrecked us. Well, that ain't true either, as we found out. I got a big run off of turn 2. I mentioned this in post race, but I got a big run off 2, and I'm like, I even showed nose low. Like I told him at that point, here I'm coming with my run, and I'm showing you what line I'm coming to. Well, when I got close to him, he just dived low and got loose. Like, it seems like that they're getting loose a lot. But certainly when I got up close to him, he started shaking the rear tires and he started getting sideways. And at that point, I'm just on the brakes, like trying not to run into him, trying not to make things worse. And at that point, I'm thinking the 45's going around me. He ain't lifting. But again, I tried to give him a minute there to get it all gathered, but it didn't. But again, that's a scenario where he thinks we made contact. I knew we didn't make contact, and that's why I'm disputing the Larson thing, because again, show me an overhead shot or something, because you can't see in the angles that they show. But not to get in that rabbit hole, but that tells you inside the car how you can have two totally different perspectives on whether there was contact or not. And unless you have conclusive video evidence, it's up for debate. So certainly did not get into him. Let's see. I'm trying to keep count of our wrecks. He's got me twice. I think I got him at Chicago. So I wasn't, I talked to him after Atlanta, and he came up to me and said that, oh man, I screwed up. I'm like, it's no big deal. I knew it was inadvertent, and you just made a mistake, and I just happened to be there. It had nothing to do with the previous week. So we were all good there, and why we raced each other pretty fairly all day long, and he just got loose there.
Well, since
unfortunate.
2021, you're now even 2-2. He had Martinsville, you had Chicago, he had Atlanta. Now you have Pocono.
Jared, what the f*** is wrong with you? I didn't touch him.
Okay, so this one doesn't count.
No, it doesn't fucking count. He lost it. It only counts when there's contact made.
Okay, so you have one in your back pocket then still.
If you need it, in reserve. Are you? You were going to count this against me?
I mean, I don't know.
You're like all those other Darfs.
Jared is a Hendrick fanboy.
Yeah. It's just ironic how well it played out in your favor. That's all.
I'm sorry. I didn't set up his race car. I mean, I didn't go in the corner sideways. I was just trying to make a pass, and next thing you know, this guy was going backwards in front of me. So it was coincidence. It was not anything but coincidence.
We also have on here Battle with Harvick. You weren't happy with him.
So, all right. Man, this is going to be a record-long episode. TV fans, TV's job is to produce drama. When they say that Denny is he is really mad at Kevin Harvick. Do you know what I said on my radio? I'm like, we just held each other up, and now we're both going to get passed. That's literally the words. I mean, I might be skewing a word or two here and there because I can't remember exactly, but at no point was like, fucking motherfucking Harvick, God, drive me like a. You're going to have a lot of bleeps on that one. You're going to spend a long time editing. No, it was just, I just ran you down, but quickly. And, I talked about he's not letting anyone go this year. So he's just, the only way I'm going to pass him, I'm going to have to use him up, slide him up the racetrack, or he's going to have to concede, okay, I'm sick of you hounding me. Go ahead. That's the only way that a pass gets made. And so he was in a position where he wasn't willing to give up that track position. And so you can make the person's job impossible to pass there if you want to. And he knew I was faster, but he didn't care. And he wanted to keep his track. He wanted, every spot matters when it comes to these last restarts. And so, I mean, God, yeah, he was just hanging on the right rear. And I needed a foot to clear, but at the time, it's not the end of the race. I didn't slide him up the racetrack and say, all right, well, I'm sick of you holding both of us up here, which I probably should have done. I should have just kind of moved him up and said, screw this. Like, I ain't got time to play games with you in this scenario. But, it all worked itself out in the end.
Yeah, and if anything, he apologized by the push he gave you on the last restart.
Hey, can't hate it.
Couple of Dear Denny's. First one I got for you is, how did you celebrate your 50th win?
Well, we flew home, and then I got a champagne shower outside the plane. You can see that on my Instagram at Denny Hamlin.
In the pouring rain.
In the pouring rain. So everyone was waiting. They said, "Oh, it's pouring out here," and nobody was. When they opened up the door of the plane, everyone's kind of waiting there. I'm like, man, it must be really raining bad, because I just kind of sit in the back until all the luggage is unloaded. I don't have any luggage, but whoever's flying with me at the time. And so the bus is waiting to take me to the hangar, and next thing you know, I just get champagne shower from all the buddies, and they had the shirts ready, the DHR 50, the hats ready, Ronnie hats. Shout out to you for the awesome Denny Hamlin 50 win hat. Appreciate him, and he organizing the friends to come over and have some fun. And what do? We went in the media room. We came back to my house, and then I proceeded to go downstairs and beat the shit out of you in pickleball.
Come on, you didn't beat the out of. It was 11.
I was in control the whole game.
It was 11-9 game.
It was 11-9 because I let you come back.
Did you ever have the lead, Jared?
Yeah.
Nope.
Yes, I was up 1-0.
Oh, were you?
I had the first
I don't think
point.
so.
Oh, big collapse then, I guess.
Exactly. And then, before that, Jared, you lost a 3-point contest to Jay motherfucking White.
Yeah. That
How did you do that?
That was not good.
He didn't hit the rim each person got 10 shots.
Yep.
10 shots. And I knew
From
Jared,
where we wanted.
Jared the rock climber now, he's all strong and buff. He's hanging on rocks on his fingertips now. I said Jared's first shot is going to go over the backboard. Like he's got spring in his legs. Jay White was the exact opposite. He couldn't hit the rim. 8 times he didn't hit the rim. And a couple times he threw it 10 foot short. No legs, no strength. Now, he had a few beasts in him at the time. But, man, it was not pretty. However, the 2 shots that Jay White hit the rim, it went in. And you only made 1 out of 10.
Yeah.
You lost.
It was truly embarrassing. You watched Jay White took the first shot, and it was 10 feet short. And it's like, okay, I just got to make 1, and this thing's over. And then the 5th shot, I hit it and think it's over. And then Jay White sinks one, ties the game, and then
big boy.
The 9th or 10th shot, he wins it.
The big boy took you out.
The big boy.
You had a bad night. I mean, I took Kyle Larson out. That probably put you in a bad mood. Then you lost to Jay White. That's humiliating.
But, yeah.
And then you got smoked on the pickleball court. So not a great night for you.
Smoke's not the right word.
You were so upset you cut my shirt in half.
Yeah, I hope Austin can get me another one of these.
Okay. Thanks. Shout out to Jordan Gregg, by the way, of the Jordan brand for these shirts. You the man. Appreciate you.
And Rachel, Austin's wife, for putting this together. We talked about it. Austin dropped me off at home last night at about 3:00, I think it was. So that's what time all this ended. And I said, man, it'd be funny if I could get a half and half shirt. And Austin's like, oh, I'll ask Rachel in the morning. I'll send her a text now.
Oh, really?
Yeah. So this morning,
thanks, Rachel. Appreciate that.
This morning before coming over here, I stopped over there, cut this Larson's shirt in half and cut your shirt in half, and she stitched it up, and I don't know, it looks pretty good.
It does look pretty good. Maybe you should wear it sometime at a racetrack.
The funniest part is the Jordan shirt. They're both mediums, by the way, but the Jordan shirt is
way
bigger.
longer.
Yeah,
yeah. He gave me the NBA version, the extra tall.
Yeah, that's the one football players put over their shoulder pads.
That's right. So, well, that was Pocono. Where are we going this weekend? Richmond.
I got one more. Dear Denny.
Okay. Let's hear it.
And depending on how you answer this, we could cut it, Travis. How did your kids like the Barbie movie?
So I saw some of the outrage from my comment that Barbie movie was the worst movie ever made.
That's why I said, how'd your kids like it?
Taylor, okay, Molly, no chance she even remotely understood it. Like, it wasn't, I don't know that it's super kid friendly. I was thinking it would be more of a kid movie, like a kid movie, but with some adult humor. You know what I mean? That's kind of what I was expecting.
Yep. One of those that parents could take their kids to and parents could still enjoy.
The plot was non-existent. It just wasn't good. Taylor was like, it wasn't very good, Dad. So even my kids were like, mm-mm. So not a hit for me for sure. Definitely won't be checking that out when it comes out on digital again. I don't know. Just I maybe just too much build up for the letdown. But I honestly don't believe I've seen a worse movie in the theater for sure. And certainly if I've seen a worse movie at home on the TV, I turned it off instantly. I just did not have that option. I could not leave the theater. But fact though, there was probably 8 people leave the movie early. I did see them grab their shit and leave. And they weren't going to the bathroom because they never came back. It just, I think it's not going to be the big hit that we thought.
For what it's worth, I do know a couple people that also went to see it, and I won't mention their names to save their identity.
Okay.
Because you took some hate on Twitter, but they also did not stay till the end of the movie. It may have been because they went to see it at 11:30 at night, and this was now 1 o'clock when they left, but regardless.
They weren't compelled. If it was compelling, they would have stayed.
Yeah.
So I think I know who you're talking about, and they made the right choice.
Yeah. I think you follow them on Instagram.
All right. Well,
Richmond this weekend.
Richmond, looking forward to it. We've had a race-winning car there for the last few years.
Will you be driving aggressive this week, Denny?
Absolutely. 100%. No question. 51, big landmark.
Do you get anxious now, as each race passes, since you want to hit 60? Does each one?
I mean, what is it? I guess in the grand scheme of things, what does it really matter? 50 to 60? But it's just a personal goal. I really haven't set many goals for myself personally when it comes to statistics other than that win number. So if I felt like I was starting to lose my edge as far as competition wise, or I wasn't running as good, listen, Father Time eventually is I'm going to go over a hill here and it's going to happen quickly. But I just it's not on the horizon. I feel like I've really got some good years left. And I feel like I'm as good as I've been as far as my race craft is concerned. The speed is there. I've still got really, really good speed. So no, I'm not panicked. I still think 10 wins to the end of my career. I'm thinking bigger.
75.
All right, let's not kid ourselves here. Let's not kid ourselves. Yeah, so I guess since, the biggest thing would be 60 for me personally. For the crowd, it would be winning a championship. But let me ask you subjectively. Take me out of the picture. A driver with 21 wins. I don't know who this is. A driver with 21 wins in a championship or someone with 50 and none.
Probably, if you know anything about the sport, I think you would go with 50 and none.
Would you rather be like the Detroit Pistons have that won, or Ben Wallace has won, or Charles Barkley that was great but didn't win?
It's just so difficult in team sports, especially basketball or football or whatever, right? It's great players sometimes aren't on great teams.
Right.
I do think our sport is more of a team sport now than ever. That's for sure. You don't have huge car advantages anymore. Just the way the championship plays out with this one race, and caution at the end could either make or break you. And certainly it broke Carl Edwards in 2000 whatever.
Yeah.
I don't know.
You just can't compare it to stick and ball
Wins,
sports, because
right?
you don't count wins in stick and ball sports. Tom Brady, you don't say LeBron James has won 1,500 games. No, it's you either have a championship or you don't. It's one or the other.
Right. No, I get it for sure. I think what we probably correlate the most to is golf. Would that be fair? How many majors do you have? How many PGA Tour wins do you have? Like, right? I feel like it's as hard to win a NASCAR race as it is a PGA Tour event. Now, there's more players. I get it in the PGA Tour. So I don't know. I think that NASCAR and PGA has the most relation to what is your top 5 percentage, top 10 percentage? How many wins do you have? That really kind of solidifies where you stand in the sport. But, I mean, this is a guy with no championships talking. So I'm going to see it through my lens.
Yeah, you like the guy with 50 wins and no championships.
I mean, I wouldn't trade my career for someone with 1 and half the wins. No way. I got way more trophies. Way more.
It's interesting though, is that for the most part over the last 20 years, right, the guys who do have championships also have a lot of wins.
Yeah, somewhat. When Kyle Larson or Chase Elliott won their championships, they didn't have. Right, well, they were in the teens.
I'm projecting by the end of their career, right?
Oh, yes. Yes. Yeah, I mean, someone like Larson or Logano, I mean, they'll surpass the 50. I mean, they'll be in the 60s for sure. That'll be a given, I think, for them, how much runway they have in their careers.
Yeah. Well, let's wrap up with this. I got a review here from TWJP, and he says, I'm an HMS fan, and I've loved the podcast from episode 1. Keep up the great work. I don't know if he left this review this morning.
He did not.
This was left before Sunday.
No. Yeah, definitely.
But there's been a few of those.
Since this morning?
No.
Oh, okay.
Since the podcast where HMS fans have said that they've become a Denny fan.
I want to hold hands with them. I do. I love them. They just don't love me back. I love all fans. I love passionate fans. I really do. When my name gets announced for driver intros, make a noise. I don't care what noise it is. Just make some kind of noise. Just don't clap. Clapping is... Go ahead. We'll move to the next guy. What else? Is that it? That's a wrap?
That's it. Leave us a review. Follow on social at Denny Hamlin, at Dirty Mo Media. If you want, you can follow me at Jared D. Allen. But
hey, also need to remind the people to get their tickets for the Dirty Mo experience at Bristol, coming up for the Bristol night race. That's a big race, and these things always typically sell out. Well, they always have sold out. So make sure you get your tickets. Where are you getting their tickets at, Travis?
DirtyMomedia.com/ultimate experience.
He just said it. I'm not going to redo it. So get your tickets there. Go see the DBC guys. Maybe we can get Jared to make a pop in.
Sure.
Number 560.
Sure.
And we'll see you guys next week.